Here we have a 7-rib AAA Canadian prime rib, 7 bones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to dry age this at home. This is how easy it is. Now what I've done now is I've gone to my local bulk fabric warehouse and I bought about 4 yards of cheesecloth. It's much cheaper than buying it in the package if you go to the actual place. Mine's called Fabricland, but that's up to you. What I'm going to do now is cut a piece a bit longer. This will be the first piece. I'm going to slide it down the sides and go underneath and turn it over and do a second layer as well. That'll go on the rack, which will go on a cookie sheet. You'll see that in just a second. So here we are with 2 layers of cheesecloth, right around that. It's wrapped on there, not snug. It's not wrapped up like a saran. It's just kind of covering it so it's not exposed. That's actually more important when you're in a commercial setting than when you are in a home, but I think we'll just keep the policy in place. Just try to stay true to the form. And now this goes on a baking sheet. This one here, so there's no debris, and it goes on the bottom shelf of your fridge, a fridge that ideally gets opened very, very little, if not at all. So here it is, gone to rest in the bottom shelf of my fridge. Notice the thermometer there is about 5 degrees above freezing. That should be about 1 or 2. I've had this door open for a couple of seconds here, so it's warmed up a little bit. Ideally, you want to leave this fridge door closed as much as possible, and we'll come back in a couple of days and see where we are. Hi everybody, Mike Benninger here. Here we are, day 3 of our great beef drying experience. Notice our temperature right there. That's 2 degrees C. If you take a look at the beef itself, it's gotten a little bit drier. Not very much though, the fat cap is there. Very little blood has come out or other protein solution. Nothing collected underneath on the rack there. We're going to leave this alone and let this go for another couple more days. Maybe we'll change the cheesecloth tomorrow, we'll have to see. So here we are at day 3 of the Chef Mike Benninger drying experiment. As we can see, very little seems to have changed on the outward appearance. We're still nice and cold, 1 degree. Still nothing collecting underneath the pan. It's drying that way. Our cheesecloth has soaked up very little, a testament to the high quality of beef I'm starting with. And what little we have, you can see is very slightly stuck to it, not very much. We can actually leave this cloth on there. The surface is noticeably drier. How much in weight, I don't really know yet, but we are a few days out from our start, and we shall see in a few more days what we look like. Remember, open this fridge as little as possible. For me, it's once a day to take these photos. Hi everybody, here we are 8 days into our experiment, keeping it at 2 degrees C. Now you'll notice the beef has actually dried and desiccated a little bit. The surface is actually starting to dry up, get firm, getting bright red on the sides. This is 9 days in. Tomorrow we're going to cut a piece off and taste it and see what we get. Hi everybody, Mike Benninger here. Here we are, 11 days of dry aging later. You'll notice that with the cheesecloth removed, it's gotten hard. It's gotten bright red on the sides like that. And it's shrunk noticeably to the eye. How much we'll see when we actually do a full one and weigh it out. But because we are 10 days in, I'm going to have a couple of these roasts cut off, and tonight we're going to have some dinner, and we'll let you know how it goes. So what I've done is I've cut off a 2-rib roast, 1, 2. I'll trim the ends of that, trim the surface of it, score the fat, season it aggressively, and we'll do a very long, slow roast at 140 degrees for 6 hours, and then finish in the barbecue to make it crispy. You can notice on the inside now, after 10 days of aging, that the lines of fat have dried up. They're nice and white and pure, but there's no mold, no mildewing, and that is perfectly safe. Hi everybody. This is the 2-bone roast. Notice I've cleaned it up. I've taken all the dried bits off that were leathery and desiccated beyond edible, but I've left as much on as possible, including this little part down here and here that maybe should be trimmed off. I think that'll actually get nice and crispy. You don't want to take too much of your roast and trim it off because you paid good money for it and you spend time and effort drying it. Remember, roast dry by what's called capillary action. It draws moisture out from the center, so your outside faces are the ones that really get the driest. Everything else inside stays quite good, but you don't want to trim too aggressively. You want to maintain as much mass as you can. I'm going to put the other 5 bones back in to dry for 5 more days. This one we're going to cook up for dinner tonight. We're going to rub it down with a little bit of oil, season it aggressively. In the glass dish it goes, then on the barbecue at the lowest possible setting on the other side at 140 degrees for 6 hours. Then a quick sear to finish and crisp on the outside. Hi everybody, Chef Mike here. This is now 14 days in my home, dry aged. The next piece cut off of the 7 rib, and it's gotten noticeably drier. Texture's changed dramatically, and the color's gotten different as well. This is the exposed surface here. This was exposed since Friday. We're going to grill this one up tonight and see what we get. More to follow. So here we are down by the very, very end of this roast. Here's the one for tomorrow night. 2 bones, dried beautifully, nice and firm, trimmed up, no mold, just dried. Super safe, no challenges. Here's 2 more. This will be a wonderful night with my beautiful wife. Look at that fat. And that one as well, a little smaller, a little thinner. This is the waist, unfortunately, but that's 2.5 weeks of dry aging. I'm gonna let that unfortunately have to go. Tomorrow we'll cook it and we'll show what it looks like. So here we are at the barbecue. The roast has been on. You can see that temperature there. It says 186 degrees. I've achieved that by actually having the fire burner on as low as it would go and the lid kept down. This has been cooking for 2 hours. It'll cook for at least 2 hours more. And after 4 hours, it should be beautifully medium rare all the way through, but not so hot as to actually cook it too significantly. And what I'll do at the end is I'll just toss it on the barbecue under super high heat for just a couple of minutes to crisp out the outside. Should be lovely and rare in the middle. So here we are about 3 hours in, and you'll notice now the temperature's gone up to about 192. I would assume down to 190 now. That'll be because the air inside the oven is getting warmer. The moisture that was holding it back from heating has been evaporated off on the outside surface. The dish is getting hotter, and the whole barbecue's heating up very gently. It's going to make a wonderful crispy crust.